Okay, Stats are Mo. I'm live here with Andrea
3,
Parker. I'm going to put it on
2,
her.
1. We're live.
All right, so we are here at the end of the day. We actually left a few minutes early because we were getting really frustrated with what was going on inside. I want to start with, I talked about earlier the Vietnam vet that is, or not Vietnam, the vet.
The vet.
I don't know what war he was in a wheelchair, was asked to stand up and walk through the metal detector. So I witnessed this yet again after lunch. They made him get out of his wheelchair, and we even asked if he could be assisted because he can't walk very well. They won't let him touch the side, and they were very rude with him as he's trying to make it through the metal detector. So then at the break, he just rolls out into the hallway because they make you leave the courtroom during the break. And at that point, I went up to the other marshals. There was different marshals at this time, and asked them, are you seriously going to make this man get up out of his wheelchair again and walk through unassisted? At least let us assist him walking through the metal detector. You can do us both as we walk through. And they actually didn't make him walk through the metal detector that time, but it was only because he came out the courtroom and just sat right there where they were watching him. So, still, I find, you know, the last time that was great that they did that, but making him get up out of his wheelchair, what if he was paraplegic? Like, what if he is to fall? This is an injustice. This is ridiculous, and it's all because he's a supporter. And I believe that that's true. So we go back in, and we're still hearing from, what is his name? Agent Saylor. He's the special agent. Is he special agent in charge?
Special agent, not in charge.
Not in charge.
No,
He's just a special agent.
Yes.
This gentleman sat through trial the entire time last trial. And he is the one that's going to testify to all the warrants, the Facebook warrants, the telephone records warrants. Communications warrants. So he's testifying to Clive and Bundy's phone warrant, Todd Ingle's phone warrant, Ryan Payne's phone warrant, Eric Parker's phone warrant, Ryan Bundy's phone warrant, all of these different Facebook accounts as well. And we're going through and we're doing all these posts. And then, like I said in the morning, they did Ricky Loveland a lot. Well, after they come up with this timeline, they keep going back and forth through posts. They bring up the phone records, and they bring up Ricky's phone record, and they mark all of the different communications.
Everybody's saying you're interrupted and it's breaking up. Losing signal. They're messing with you.
Hang on, guys. She's having technical issues, so she's checking on her commentary.
I don't see any issues, so you might have to wait until it's recorded. And so, let's see, where was I at now? So they're bringing all these phone warrants in. And they're showing, okay, Todd Ingle was on his knee in front of Ricky Loveland. They're bringing up Todd Ingle a lot. And they're bringing up phone records between Todd Ingle and Jerry Bruckhart. And they're bringing up Ricky Loveland's phone records. And they bring up, he communicated with Ryan Payne 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times. But of course, they don't bring up how much time. Although it's on the board, they don't make the agent read it. Let me read you the one I grabbed and wrote down. All of these were the exact same kind of timelines. 37 seconds for the first call. 36 seconds for the second call. 1 minute, 11 seconds for the third call. So what is that? Leaving a message, and the first two were a recording picking up. Fourth call, 6 minutes and 33. So maybe there's an actual call there. Next call, 0.38 seconds. The last call, 7 minutes, 37 seconds. Now this is before, during, and after. So they're bringing it all up, and they're bringing it up a little bit here, and then they skip to another person, and then here's this person, they bring that up. And at the end, they're going to put it all in a timeline. In that timeline, it does not have the times on it. In the timeline, it says, well, here, Rick calls Ryan and calls Nick Whiting, and then 2 more people. Ryan Payne calls. The calls could be a minute or less if it says a minute because they round up to the next minute. Outgoing call to Cheyenne Miller. And on the 7th, Ryan Payne calls Cliven, and to Cliven's cell. Then he calls Cliven's home. Then a couple minutes later, he calls Cliven's cell. Obviously, those weren't actual phone conversations if he's trying to get him. Then
no
Ryan
audio
calls
recording.
Ricky Loveland. And at 12:30, after the phone call, Ricky posts something to his page. Then Ricky puts a call out for people to go to the ranch. Then Ryan Payne calls, I'm not sure who that was, at 11:08. And then Ricky likes the MOA page. So they've broken down, they've taken all this boring information that they've jumped around all day, and then taken it and put it into a nice little timeline, leaving out pertinent information. Now that timeline is entered as evidence, and that goes back to the jury room for deliberation. What they are doing here is they are setting things up. They are bringing all these phone calls, and mind you, I believe it's only one phone call between Ryan Payne and Ricky Loveland before the date.
One, yeah.
Guess what? I'm sorry.
It's
too hot.
Shut down temperature.
Temperature. It is hot. My phone's
Yeah,
hot.
that's why everybody
Okay,
was saying
you're still
that.
live over here.
Well, you're
Let's take her in the shade though, because my phone's hot.
Yeah, let's
Broadcast
see if we can't get mine. It still says broadcast.
Get hers cool off.
I'll just hold mine. If they want to shut me down, I'll hold mine too.
There you go.
And we're just gonna go
Yep.
back from the beginning.
You guys can go to Andrea Parker's page if you have a moment while you're waiting for us to get her going back again. Let her audience know that over here is uninterrupted too. Plus hers is going to go up online. So you guys have still multiple things to watch from. There we go.
Okay, we're back here, and we're gonna keep going. Should I start all over, depending on if that goes through or not?
We've got a full live stream uninterrupted here. They are telling me that you are uninterrupted and you're good to go. So we will share this to your page.
Awesome.
Okay.
So what they're doing is they're creating this timeline, and they're leaving out pertinent information. And they're just saying this person contacted this person. It doesn't say it was for 37 seconds. It doesn't say if they actually contacted them or not. They're also talking about emails from a major page.
Sorry.
And the emails, so like if you like a page, say like you like this natural medicine that you buy and you sign up to their website's going to automatically throw you onto a email list. So they're bringing up these emails that Ricky is receiving from MOA, and there's no way to say if he actually opened that email, if he read that email, if he was in transit down to the ranch, if he was checking his emails while he was down there. How are you going to put that in? So what they're doing is they're pretty much falsifying evidence by leaving out pertinent information and making it, just because you receive an email from a website that links you to a conspiracy.
Misleading.
It's misleading. It's completely misleading. And this evidence, the evidence is the only thing that goes back to the jury, into the jury deliberation room. So they will have that paperwork in the jury room, and they won't have the paperwork that says 37 minutes. Can you not talk while I'm right here? It says 37 seconds and 32 seconds and 1 minute 11 seconds, and that's not going to be back there. So then this special agent Sailor, see, he was in the courtroom when Eric Parker testified last trial. And now they're going to read transcripts from Eric Parker's testimony last trial.
Sorry.
And they're only going to read, okay, so we start out with, would you please read from page 138 from day 1, line 57. And they read that, and he says, yes, I went down to the ranch. Well, what did you take with you? Well, I took my weapons in my truck, and I took my my bag, and I took my tent, and I took my camping gear because I didn't know how long I was going to be there.
Sleeping bag.
And then they jump to page 148, day 1. And then jump again. They read one line. Jump again to page 149. Now we've gone completely black.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, they're
guys.
just trying to shut us down.
All right.
So
just get over here.
then they jump back to page 45 after we're at page 163. They jump back to page 45. Once again, they are wrapping all this information. They're making it misleading and creating the jury to be confused by all this. It goes against the rule of completion. You can't just pick little things out of his testimony and play it. Our lawyer actually wanted the rule of completion done in the very beginning. He objected to that. He said read the entire statement or none at all. Of course, she said no. Well, they got down to page 172 and then decided to have a sidebar. That was because all of a sudden they want him to read, oh yeah, well I was going to go down there and we were going to use force until those cattle were released. Well, in his testimony, he explains what he means by use force, and what he means is that he is going to camp, stand there with their flags, and not leave until they surrender. And he had a big, huge explanation. So they have a sidebar. The judge gets really irritated. They have a sidebar. They come back and they decide, oh, and the other thing is, they asked in the part of the testimony, wasn't there a time when someone was standing next to you and they asked Siri, when was the last time the government backed down? And what comes up? A picture of Eric Parker. And so they objected to double hearsay because not only is it an agent testifying to what Eric said, it's an agent testifying to what Eric said was told by somebody else that Siri told him. So once again, this Siri information is coming in. It's absolutely ridiculous. So they have a sidebar. They're going to bring in the Siri information that comes in. How do you take the transcripts from a trial that was a mistrial and read it inside this trial?
And they allow it.
And they allowed it. So now we have had 2 of our objections, 2 of our 58 objections ruled in our favor, and the other 56 ruled in their favor. Of course, there's probably more after I left. They continue with this, and then there's another sidebar, and they actually come back and have to read more of Eric's testimony. But once again, this is an FBI agent, and he sits in the room the entire time during testimony, the whole last trial, and then he comes in this trial and testifies. But our witnesses can't be in the jury. They can't be watching the trial and then testify. So how is that legal either? What we have here is a complete bias. So while all this is going on, there's an objection inside the courtroom, not during the sidebar, and the judge has a hissy fit where she shows her bias. She practically slams down, stands up and says, sidebar, immediately.
She did.
While the lawyer is still speaking to his objection. They all go over. That was an interesting sidebar. Here I believe the judge herself has showed her bias, unbelievable, and she needs to recuse herself from this case.
A long time ago.
So then we finally get into the cross-examination. And Perez goes up there and he is bumbling through. Once again, Perez doesn't know his Facebook information and he is bumbling through this. We're really worried right now because they're really attacking Ricky Loveland. They have nothing on him, but they are misinforming the jury. They're distracting them with all of this information that has nothing. There's no relevance. If you get an email from a website that you put your email in, how does that link you to a conspiracy? And then they're going to link Eric, Scott, and Steve to Ricky. And they did that through the agent testifying to what Eric Parker testified. What are they planning here? Do they plan to make Eric Parker not testify? Are they trying to bind him? Is this trial going to be over in 2 weeks because we do all this and the defense is not allowed to put on any defense at all? This is what I have to
And again, who always responds or reads their mass emails,
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I totally don't.
Okay, and then I'm going to leave it to Maureen, who has more information because I had to get up and leave at that moment.
Okay, all right, so we're good. We're good. Go rest. Okay, we're going to let her rest and everything. We're good to go. So after she left, shortly after she left, the only thing, the Perez just kind of kept going around and bumbling. That is a concern, by the way. I think my only real concern is don't ask a question unless you already knew the answer to it. Would probably be a good rule of thumb for any good attorney worth his salt. So, but moving on from that, what happened is that a break was suddenly announced for the bathroom, but it was kind of unusual And then we found out soon why it was that was unusual. What happened was U.S. Marshal actually said, Your Honor, we need to take a 10-minute break. And she said, oh, we do? Okay, then we do. And so she dismisses the jury. And then she says, once the jury leaves the room, she says, we are still on the record, meaning there's more to witness there at that time. So what's on the record at that time is for prosecution, the defense team, and the galley remains. The jury is not in the room at this time. So what is brought to the court's attention, or what the judge brings to the court's attention, is that Stewart was being reprimanded or admonished, and I would say somewhat mildly, considering the fact that she's usually extreme, but was admonished because he was seen or heard, clear across the room by a jury member. That's the complaint that was submitted. He was heard by a jury member mouthing or saying something at that time. At that time, she just admonished him for it, and then when that was concluded, the defense already had also another issue they wanted to bring to the judge's attention anyway in regards to juror number 4. Juror number 4 was seen for 10 minutes at a time in different increments falling completely asleep, not just nodding, completely out of it. And so that was Tenacity is the one that brought that to the court's attention, and he even clocked it and timed it, and also had a witness, the U.S. Marshal that called for that 10-minute break was a witness to that. So he was able to confirm that yes, in fact, he did see jury number 4 was asleep, most certainly. Of course, Myrie stood up to argue that and saying that no, we saw jury number 4. We were looking to. Jury number 4 was just blinking the whole time. That's about all. And that's that's absolutely false. He was seen by multiple witnesses, court observers, defense attorneys. Also, once they caught on and watched him, they clocked him. They marked the time. So who knows what they missed before they caught on? But they clocked him, and Tenacity had marked the times, the start time of as he watched him sleeping to the end time when he perked up. And he said that a few of those occasions were 10 minutes at a time, and he was certainly missing information. So the judge called jury number 4 in, said, we're not here to embarrass you, but it's been brought to the court's attention that you had possibly missed some information because you may have fallen asleep and you may be struggling with that. Well, the juror did admit, yes, I did fall asleep. I am struggling with that, but I'm working on it. It was only for 30 seconds at a time, he said. But he was clocked by a room full of people, and a marshal observed him as well, and that argument was ignored. And Myrie argued after the juror gave his testimony about, yes, I'm struggling with it. The judge then asked if that's going to, if there's a plan of action for that problem, and then asked about, his prior work schedule. And he said that his prior work schedule, he got up at, he'd go to bed at 8 p.m. to get up and go to work at 2 a.m. And then be off by noon. So he's kind of acclimating to that work schedule. But he has a plan of action, or he said, he didn't say I have a plan of action. When she asked, do you have a plan of action? He said, I can implement a plan of action. And at the end of that, he did say that he'll just raise his hand next time. So she dismissed him. Immediately, I was thinking, absolutely you have to remove this juror. This juror number 4 is one the government particularly wants. Absolutely 100%, hands down wants to keep. So Myrie begins to argue again, saying, I do not agree with what Tenacity represented. In regards to recording, he recorded, and for 10 minutes at a time, in multiple occasions, and he cited those clock times. He didn't write those down, but he cited those clock times. And there was about 4 of them that he cited. And he argued that again, and then the judge said, okay, well, right now we'll just, I don't think it's a basis to remove the juror. So we'll allow him to implement his plan of action. What was that? It's a first offense. It's a first offense. Even though he missed information. That's the problem. First offense or not, that juror absolutely hands down missed information. So, scooted down in the seat, everything. Yep, thank you. Yep. So, he stays, and then It wasn't over yet. Myrie had a complaint he wanted to bring up to the court that he also saw Stuart mouthed something, and he almost insinuated, it was kind of confusing the way he worded it, because it's not something he witnessed. During a sidebar, he had to have been informed, because he's actually not a witness to this. But one of the people on his defense team, I don't even know her name, she's in a beige outfit, blonde, short hair. She was whispering when Myrie kind of fumbled. He turned to her for information, and she whispered information back to him. So apparently she's the one watching all the defendants during the sidebar, and she's the one that says she saw him mouth the words, "because it's true." That's all he mouthed. If that is what he mouthed, nobody else witnessed this, but that is, and nobody else testified or confirmed that this was witnessed, not even a U.S. Marshal. U.S. Marshals are watching everybody, and neither of Myrie's complaints were confirmed by anybody at all whatsoever. But that is what happened. That all finally concluded. The jury was allowed back in as a whole, and they continued, and I left. And that's all I have for you guys. Not only should that juror be dismissed, but the bias, yes. And I think that everything that I don't have anything else to add to what Andrea had to say. So I'm going to share this on her page or tag her because her live stream was interrupted on 2 different cameras. So we're going to get this over on her page and any other page. Share this far and wide, please. Any of her audience members, please share this far and wide. Yeah. It just continues. The bullshit just continues. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for spreading the truth and the information. Thank you for your time that you're spending either during work or at home. Wherever you are, thank you very much, because you are participating. I wish more were standing here with us. It's an ingredient we still need, but I do not ever demean or devalue the very important ingredient of those that are at home and still discussing this at home and teaching and educating others with the very truth from, you know, the information you're getting from truthful court observers here. So thank you guys again. We'll be back. I don't know when I'll be back online again. I'm gonna relax a little bit or something, or complain a lot. I'm probably gonna complain a lot tonight. Here with Brand Thornton. He was here, he remained in the remaining part of the day of the trial after I left, as I described in the first video. So if you haven't yet seen the prior video with Andrea Olson and then myself, please go back to that too. But at the very end of the day, right after I left, Brand Thornton, who remained, has an update in regards to Perez, who was the defense attorney for Ricky Loveland. I knew that. Yeah. Ricky Loveland, who has been questioning the cross-examination of the witness. Okay.
That would be the special agent.
The special agent.
Mr. Saylor.
He's our professional babysitter.
We had special people like that when I was a kid, used to live in our block. I got picked up the little yellow bus. Perez is the attorney's name for Ricky Loveland. Okay? Perez has always kind of not got the best prints, you know, because he's very soft-spoken. He's not aggressive at all, and sometimes it appears like he's not really with it at times. But you know what? He pulled a Columbo. That's what I'm gonna call it. He pulled a Columbo on the guy. And then you got this special agent, Saylor. He's what I call, from my college days in Psych 101, a compulsive. He's got compulsive behavior. He just wants to show he's smarter than everybody else, because that's pretty much all he's got in life.
Well,
if I can characterize him like that. Well, you know, it's a boring subject. It's all about Facebook, Facebook pages, and the different dealings, or how Facebook works in all kinds of different situations. And, you know, what happened was Perez started off, this whole thing started off really boring, okay? And I could see the special agent just kind of firing back answers real fast, you know, and Perez just going through his,
methodically taking his time. Yeah.
I call it the Columbo effect, you know. And then all of a sudden, he started scoring points. And unfortunately, it got cut off short, and he even told the judge when he comes back, he said, I got a lot more. This is going to go a lot further. And I actually saw the special agent say they're starting to get uncomfortable. His confidence seemed to be waxing and waning towards the end there. So,
do you remember or recall any of the line of questioning at that point? Do you recall anything specific?
Basically, what it had to do, where he caught him, scored some minor points, is he could not say who actually posted certain posts and when they got posted. Those posts that are being contributed to Ricky Loveland specifically. And finally, he had to admit, more or less, that those posts might not have come. And he's showing some time, the times that he supposedly made those posts.
What do you mean they might not have come? What did they mean by that?
At those particular times that he was saying, which then they can't necessarily be credited to Ricky Loveland.
So even with the certificate of authentication, it isn't exactly proven that the times that they were citing on these posts, these Facebook posts, are actually at the times that were documented?
Not that. Not
okay.
That, but who actually did post them.
Who actually posted it?
Post them. Now that could be considered something fairly minor. But with this gentleman, Mr. Saylor, and his compulsive personality, you can see the effect that it had on him. Now I talked to Roger Root about him. He called them minor victories. But to the jury, that might not be so minor. Okay, and they see a chink in the armor. They see this extremely confident FBI agent all of a sudden start to stutter, start to make missteps, and because of his type of...
Because we're speaking to the evidence here, and if it's not proven without a shadow of a doubt,
right?
If there's question
sure.
to any of the evidence, where it came from, who is it really from, in this case,
and with the jury,
then that puts doubt.
That puts doubt into the whole thing.
Okay. All right. Hi, Susan. Susan DeLumis is there.
Hi, Susan.
Shirt out to Hall. Okay. Was there anything else specific, too, that you'd like to speak to in regards to...
there is one other thing. I continue to talk about how they're turning a right into a crime.
A right into a crime, yeah.
The question I want everybody out there to ask themselves, how can you have a well-regulated militia if they can't communicate?
Right.
You know? Now, if this was Antifa that we're going to court against, then all evidences would be allowed to be heard.
Basically, they're turning all and any communication, likes, shares, web page sharing, web-page subscriptions,
which
even,
is First Amendment
right? First Amendment rights, web-page subscriptions, even, if you subscribe to certain pages that you're interested in the information coming from. Any of that, they're turning into a conspiracy. They're trying to paint a picture that this is evidence of a conspiracy of two or more, and in an oppositional and aggressive manner, when there's no evidence of the opposition or aggression or violence.
There was no violence. Everybody went
no
home.
impeding.
Nothing.
Yeah, no threats.
So the only thing that you have left...
They use words like freedom fighters, though. We have to put that out. They use words like, somebody said, I'm going to go freedom fight. I'm freedom fighting right now.
Exactly.
Right here.
Good point. Good point.
This is freedom fighting.
And there's actually a law, there's case law that says you cannot use a right, you cannot use a constitutional right as evidence of a crime. And that is specifically what they are doing right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's pretty much it. I want to keep an eye in Attorney Mr. Pierce. I don't know about you guys, but I used to love Columbo. And I'm telling you.
You're dating yourself.
That's well, that's easy to do. Look at my hair. But that's exactly what I was seeing. I was like, because all of a sudden you turn the tables, and again, at this point in time, you couldn't consider major victories unless maybe you're the jury, because you are putting doubt in the jury's mind about the evidence that the FBI has.
And he has a long ways to go. He was just getting warmed up.
Yes, he actually.
Now I'm excited to see him tomorrow.
He actually told the judges there's a lot more to this. So now I am excited to see.
I am just excited to see tomorrow morning. 9 to 5 again, right? 9 to 5. 9 to 5 every day, Monday through Friday, unless she says there's no court because she's on vacation or whatever she does, playing golf. I don't know, fixing her hair, looking like something.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. We love you guys. Thank you. Bye.